Imagine a young man who, just a few years ago, was living in complete obscurity, suddenly becoming the most powerful person in an entire nation. Millions see him as a savior. They chant his name in the streets, and the eyes of international media remain fixed on him. But what if behind this so-called hero lies a reality carefully hidden from the public eye? What if I told you that the unknown side of Ibrahim Traore's life is actually a story filled with power, politics, danger, and dark realities? Would you believe it? Today, we are going to unfold a story that is not only shocking, but will force you to think about the vast difference between reality and appearances. This is the story of Ibrahim Traore, a name that has now become the center of debate not only in Burkina Faso, but across Africa. A young leader who claims to pull his nation out of darkness, yet around him swirl questions that sound like a script straight out of a political thriller. Is he truly a savior, or is this all just part of a bigger game? A game of hidden powers, conspiracies, and personal interests? This journey won't be easy. We will move closer to a reality that many ignore, uncover secrets wrapped tightly around Traore, and keep you watching until the end, because every moment of this story will bring a new revelation. Ibrahim Traore was born in 1988 into a modest family. He completed his early education in Burkina Faso, but soon his interest shifted toward a military life. From a young cadet, he climbed rapidly to become a successful officer, admired for his discipline, intelligence, and charismatic personality. But here lies the question. Was his rapid rise solely due to talent, or were there other forces pushing him forward? After 2010, the political climate of Burkina Faso collapsed further. Governments kept falling, terrorism and insecurity took over, and the military became increasingly important. And it was in this environment that Traore's star began to shine. By 2022, the situation had reached breaking point. Both the people and the army had lost faith in the government. At this critical moment, Traore emerged as the face the nation desperately needed. At just 34 years old, he became the youngest leader in Africa. People hailed him as a ray of hope, while the media branded him the young revolutionary. But this is where the story takes a darker turn. Because the very moment he seized power, another hidden side of his life began to surface. At the start of his rule, he made bold promises to defeat terrorism, to bring prosperity to his people, and to end corruption once and for all. But the truth was far more complicated. From day one, a shadow surrounded him, and that shadow only grew darker with time. Did you know? When Traore took power, there was already significant opposition inside the military. Some officers believed his rise was not natural at all, but part of a larger, orchestrated plan, a game designed to manipulate the emotions of the people with empty slogans. Yet the public was shown a completely different picture. A new era has begun. And so the real story begins. The hero that people were celebrating was, in fact, surrounded by layers of questions. Was Traore truly a leader in control of his destiny, or just a puppet in the hands of unseen powers? Was his strength real, or just an image carefully crafted by the media? The public narrative was bright and full of hope, but behind the curtain, a deep darkness was spreading. Immediately after taking power, Traore declared war on terrorism and promised to restore sovereignty to Burkina Faso. His words ignited joy among the people. But on the ground, the situation told a different story. Large portions of the country remained under control of extremist groups. Military campaigns repeatedly failed. Yet strangely, the media continued to report only victories. So, the question arises, were these real successes or merely propaganda designed to pacify the masses? Soon, state media came entirely under his control. Every headline, every image, every speech was broadcast in a way that built the image of a lone savior. People were shown what they wanted to see, while the truth was carefully buried. This was the first mask of his dark reality, the manipulation of truth to create an artificial hero. Inside the military, resistance grew. Many senior officers questioned how such immense power had been handed to a 34-year-old. Reports suggest that dissenters were silenced. Some were stripped of their positions, and others thrown into prison. In order to strengthen his rule, internal opposition was brutally crushed. This is a truth the public was never allowed to fully see. Traore assured the people that he was independent, not controlled by any external force, and that he would bring real freedom to Burkina Faso. But is that the full truth? Analysts claim that his policies still bear the fingerprints of foreign influence, that the face is new, but the hands behind it are the same old powers that have long shaped Africa's destiny. If that's true, then is he truly a free leader, or just another puppet carefully placed in front of the people? Here lies the great contradiction. The people still chant his name, still see him as their savior. In the dusty villages and fragile settlements of Burkina Faso, crowds believe he represents freedom, but the reality of their lives hasn't changed. Poverty still suffocates them. Basic necessities remain scarce. Entire regions remain unsafe. The difference between rhetoric and reality grows sharper by the day. His fiery speeches won the hearts of the masses, but in practice, little has changed. In fact, many of his decisions suggest that he is more focused on securing his own power than fulfilling his promises. Opposition has been suppressed. Independent journalism restricted. Critics branded as enemies of the state. These actions do not reflect the image of a democratic leader, but rather the shadow of authoritarianism. And so the question remains, why? The answer lies in the eternal game of power. In this game, dreams are sold, emotions are stirred, and behind closed doors, the real moves are made. In Traore's case, it seems no different. On one hand, he is paraded as a savior. On the other, the same old games of power, control, and suppression of dissent continue. The story now reaches a turning point, where every new step reveals deeper secrets and darker truths. Initially, Traore projected himself as a representative of the people and a completely independent leader. But hidden reports suggest otherwise, that his rise to power may have been backed by specific external forces never revealed to the public. Experts point out decisions that curiously align with the interests of these outside powers. If he is truly sovereign, then why do such contradictions exist? These very questions cast long shadows on his heroic image. After taking power, the biggest threat he faced came not from the streets but from within his own army. Plots of coups, whispers of betrayal, and conspiracies in his closest circles forced him to take harsh measures. Some insiders claim his life has been in danger multiple times, even from those he once trusted most. This constant battle to survive has turned him into more than a political leader. He is a man trapped in a daily struggle of life and death. He is not only a public hero, but also a survivor of endless intrigue, betrayal, and fear. At first, the people embraced him wholeheartedly. You saw him as a role model. The poor believed him to be their savior. But over time, doubts began to grow. Was their love real, or was it born of fear? Because every voice that dared to rise against him was swiftly silenced. Is this true support, or a nation too afraid to resist? The promises of ending terrorism, reviving the economy, and creating prosperity remained largely unfulfilled. The economy continued to stumble. Security issues persisted. Daily life for ordinary citizens saw little improvement. Slowly, many began to realize, is he truly the leader of change, or just a new face repeating the same old policies? Around him, a powerful media machine worked tirelessly to brand him as a national savior. But behind this propaganda, the line between leader and brand blurred completely. The people were trapped in a cult of personality, while his actual performance remained hidden in the shadows. Reports suggest that under his rule, decisions were made in secrecy. Certain groups were quietly empowered, and military operations concealed their true outcomes. Dissenters simply disappeared. This is the essence of his dark reality. Truth erased, image glorified. Over time, the controversies grew heavier. To the public and to the world, he still appeared strong and charismatic. But behind the scenes, the game was one of fear, conspiracy, and survival. He may be a young hero in front of the cameras, but in reality, he is caught in a system that forces him to make choices not for people, but for power itself. The story now reaches its climax, the moment where truth and illusion blur into one. The slogans fade, the images dissolve, the political theater collapses, and what remains is a truth too shocking to ignore. Traore, the man praised as a hero, is also a man fighting desperately to protect his throne. Every rebellion crushed, every opposing voice silenced, every truth twisted into lies. This is a reality the people do not see. They believe he is their savior, but in truth, he is yet another participant in the old game of power that has kept his nation shackled for decades. The truth is simple. In the game of power, nothing is straightforward. The greater the power, the greater the danger. The higher you rise, the lonelier you become. The more promises you make, the more questions haunt you. This is Ibrahim Traore's reality. A man once seen as the face of hope, now entangled in the very web of power he once promised to break. Today, media continues to show his brave, heroic image. But if you look behind the curtain, what you see is a carefully constructed brand, a mask hiding a darker, harsher truth. The real story is not simple. It is a story of fear, manipulation, and endless shadows. And here lies the final contradiction. The people still believe in him. They think change is coming. But their lives tell a different story. Poverty, hunger, and fear remain. So we must ask, has he truly given hope, or has he only sold dreams? In the end, the greatest secret of Ibrahim Traore's life is this. He himself may also be a prisoner of the very system that lifted him. Perhaps he did want change, but the machine of power that raised him has also bound him tightly. Today, he is less of a hero and more of a pawn in an endless game. Imagine a man worshipped by millions as a savior, yet every day fighting a dark war simply to hold on to power. On one side, chance and hope. On the other, fear and conspiracies. This is the dark reality of Ibrahim Traore, a reality so complex, so dangerous, and so shocking that people still struggle to believe it. And in the end, one burning question remains. Is he truly the hero people think he is? Or is he simply another character in the same old game of power, where faces change, but the ending never does?